All right, welcome to another episode of Frags and Beer Radio News, our Tuesday night show where we get together and talk about the last week in geek. If you're watching the live broadcast, welcome and thank you for joining us. You can join the chat on the right, ask us questions, comment on the topics we're covering, or just tell us how we're doing. I'm joined as with my co-host, Russell Michaels. Welcome, Russell.
Hello.
No guest tonight, which is not a big deal. We've got a lot to talk about and plenty to fill the time. I did want to get somebody to talk about one of our big stories, but I couldn't find anybody that was affected by it or had anything that they wanted to share. So yeah, we're gonna jump right in. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Let me know what you think in the chat. If you're watching the recorded broadcast down the road later, if you enjoy any of our shows, please subscribe, comment on the videos, like things.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
We want to get to that 100 mark, so we are Frags and Beer Network on YouTube and not that long string of stupid characters that I can never remember. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, awesome news, really good news. We're going to jump off with some great stuff. If you have not seen this show, you need to go watch this show. Get Netflix. Let Netflix for a month. It'll only take you a day. Watch Stranger Things. If you have not seen it, it is probably one of the best TV shows I have seen in a long time. Did you think so too? I know you just said you watched it too. How good was it, Russell?
I really, really liked it as a fan of 70s and 80s type films. It's basically love letter to Spielberg. Yeah. Essentially what it was. And a little bit of James Cameron, because Alien.
It had that suspenseful, like James Cameron was really good for doing not so much the jump out and freak you out horror, but the real suspenseful stuff like Alien, the first Alien.
Oh, and John Carpenter, Carpenter,
some of the old stuff. And I grew up in the 80s. I'm an old guy, you guys know that, and this show was so spot on with the sets, the costuming, the dialogue, the language, the slang. It was like watching any of those. It was like watching a new version of E.T., except, it wasn't. God, it didn't feel like a modernized 80s tribute show, which a lot of times they do. Like, whenever they make a show and they set it back in the 80s, you can tell it was filmed today and that it was, supposed to emulate this show felt like watching a movie or a television show from the 80s. It was so good. The story's so good. The actors, those kids were fantastic. Anyway, to the point, Stranger Things Season 2 is confirmed, which nobody is surprised by. We're not surprised by. It was confirmed first part of the month. I'm looking at the article on Digital Trends. Go ahead, Russell. Sounded like you were getting ready to say something.
No, I wasn't.
Anyway.
I was letting you say the Stranger Things. Yeah, the Stranger Things. The memes on the internet. What was her name? Barbara, that everyone loved a lot. I kind of didn't understand it because she wasn't in it enough for me to be like, I understand why they. No, she's a wet blanket, and she's female Napoleon Dynamite, essentially.
She is that character that a lot of us were. On the outside looking in, wanting to be part of the group. I mean, she appealed to a lot of us.
How many people actually had friends in high school that were, like, in high school, got super popular, and then you were left in the dust? I didn't have a lot of that. I had when I was in elementary school, that happened. But by the time you get to high school, everybody knows you. So if you're going to be popular, you're already popular.
That's generally true. Not a lot of people do, that I remember anyway, but I only went to one high school, so I don't know. My high school had, 1,000 kids in it. It was a big high school.
Mine... By the time I graduated, I think we had 3,200 in all four grades, all told. There were like 800 people in my graduating class.
It could happen, and I'm sure it's happened to somewhere. There's too many high schools and too many kids out there. It's just that she was pretty popular because, like I said, a lot of us identified with her because we were, even if we didn't have a good friend that became popular, some of us had friends. I had friends who were popular because of, either I was in the band and they, and my school band kids, some of the band kids were popular kids. Because a lot of them also crossed over.
Because they were on sports teams, probably, as well as...
Sometimes they were cheerleaders, too. Sometimes that they were good friends with somebody. Because, you grow up with somebody, and one guy goes to sports, and the other guy goes to band, and they stay friends. so I've been that kid standing on the outside, wanting to be part of the group, wanting to be part of something. Until you grow up. Most of us grow up and realize that that's not all there is to life, and we move on with things. But there's always those kids that want to be part of something. So yeah, Barbara was real popular with a lot of people, and but we got Stranger Things 2 coming, which is awesome. We don't yet know much of anything. It's really early stages. There are. It looks like a girl named Max will be in the second season. There's a lot. We don't know a whole lot of details, but I'm reading it on digitaltrends.com, so you can go see the details I'm seeing. The one thing I'm praying, if by some miracle anybody involved with this show is watching or hears, or somebody says, hey, listen to the first 5 minutes of this guy's newscast, this nobody, do not cast Will Wheaton in anything. I know he said he wants to be part of this show. Do not ruin this show by putting that guy in this movie.
My reaction to him, as long as he dies brutally.
Put him in the first episode and have it be.
That's what happened. That's what happened in. Yeah, just have him be a random person who gets killed by the alien of the season. They do that all the time. Right. They kill, like in The Walking Dead, for instance, just random zombie extras are famous people. You could Google that. There's all these famous people that just are just random zombies.
I can't stomach. I mean.
He got killed in Sharknado 2, remember that.
I don't think I could stomach.
He's not that good of an actor, we know that.
And I don't think I could stomach an entire season of this show. I mean, this show would have to be so amazing for me to stomach any screen time.
He's not going to be in the show very long. If he wants to be in it so hard, he'll have a small cameo where he gets killed quickly. I mean,
in the first episode,
or shot in the head by the organization that's hunting it. I mean,
I don't know. Just please do not make him a regular in season 2.
The question is, where do they go from here? They killed the alien at the end. That's the only problem. That's the only problem with this. Is that small problem of Eleven is gone.
If anybody hasn't
watched it,
okay. People know it, we spoil shit. So if you haven't watched it, spoilers.
Yeah. Barbara's dead, so she's not coming back unless they do the stupid flashback bullshit. Or like dream sequence haunting you bullshit.
Official confirmation is, let's see, the adventure continues. So it makes it sound like season 2 is going to be a continuation of season 1. We know.
Well, they're going to have to start filming it really quickly, or those kids are going to look a lot older than they did first season.
Terms that appeared in the teaser. Now, there is a teaser trailer on this site, so the terms...
Oh, you know how they do it? A year goes by. Yeah. That's how they do it.
Let's see.
The year anniversary of it, she comes back or something.
Teaser, there were some terms that appeared in the teaser. Mad Max, the boy who came back to life, which we're assuming these are characters from the original. The Pumpkin Patch, the Palace, the Storm, the Pollywog, the Secret Cabin, the Brain, and the Lost Brother.
Which all nonsense. We have no idea what any of that shit means.
The boy who came back to life is, the kid who got lost, most likely. The video explains that the adventure continues in the fall of '84.
The kid who came back to life, that'd be the boy. Yeah, that'd be him.
So anyway, go check out the teaser that they have at Digital Trends. Let us know what you think. If you liked the show, if you really like Stranger Things, I can't say enough about this show. It's just flat out awesome. So
it's not, but I will say this: it's not as good as Daredevil or Jessica Jones. So
that's a tough call.
It's good. It's very, very good. It's just not as good as both those, because those are just
so close,
mind-blowingly. I couldn't stop watching it. I finished Jessica Jones in one day.
That is a tough call. So yeah.
House of Cards is also really good, although it's clear the showrunner wanted the show to end the previous season because he left immediately after it was over.
Yeah.
I think he wanted the show to. If you've seen House of Cards, you've seen the most recent season. Yeah, it ends in such a way to hint that it probably could have ended this season easily, because he needs to lose the presidential election. He can't win it. And they're like 3 weeks from Election Day at the end of the season. It's clear the guy wanted it to end, and that's why he left. Because it
very well could be.
Yeah.
It is good. I've not seen Kevin Spacey in a role that I think he was better at than this one. Honestly,
that and Seven. He was really good in Seven.
He's
or so
just
7
flat out
and
good. He's a good actor, but him in House of Cards is probably that to me is his best role. Honestly, I'm just blown away by him.
yeah, probably his best role overall. I mean, he didn't do a lot of television,
No.
so this is his episodic. By the way, we have Pokemon news. There was a news release today, fresh off the presses. There's a bunch of new Pokemon that were released. One of which is an evolution of probably an evolution of a Pokemon that we've already been introduced. It's a bug type. We have a Pokemon whose name is Type Null, and it's like a hobbled together Franken Pokemon with a bunch of different stuff on it. Like it's like Porygon, Porygon from the original ones, but not on a computer. Actually, fully experimented on. It looks crazy looking. Cool. It's freaking crazy. It looks like it's probably super powerful. We also got the Pokemon that'll likely be the Dratini of this generation, the first dragon type that evolves into a really big dragon at the end of it. There's one every generation. And we got... Yeah?
You got another one?
We also got 2 other things. We got the Alolan Raticate. In the Alolan region, there's going to be a bunch of Pokemon from previous generations that because of the weird physiology of the Alolan region, are different types now. And they look different. And we got the Alolan Raticate because it's in a city urban Pokemon, it has gotten fatter. So it's Raticate that's just fat.
So are these for the Pokemon Go game, or what are they for?
Pokemon Sun and Moon, which comes out in November.
These are new announced for the upcoming games. Gotcha. Okay.
We also got a Pokemon we got the introduction of what is known as an Ultra Beast. We have no idea what that means. Honestly, we're getting a bunch of different types of different Pokemon this time. We're getting Tiki Pokemon, which are its own thing, a spirit deity of something. We get these mystical Pokemon. We're getting all. They're branching out in their legendaries. This Ultra Beast looks like a glass jellyfish. We have no idea what its type is. We don't know much about it. We don't even really know if it's a Pokemon. Really, it's just called it might not even be a fucking Pokemon. Probably a Pokemon though. I mean, they probably wouldn't introduce a beast that you couldn't catch. Yeah. That would be stupid. But we also got. If you pre-order, you don't have to pre-order the game, but as long as you get on their thing to receive a mystery gift by sometime in January of next year, you can get a Munchlax, which is holding a special item. They're introducing something called Z-Moves. The previous generation, they introduced Mega Evolutions, which are battle-specific evolutions. They evolve in battle, and they only last during the battle. It's kind of like Digimon, kind of. Kind of like Digimon, actually. And they've introduced this new thing that's kind of like that, but it's a move-specific attack. So they introduced something. If you haven't seen the video, I recommend you check it out. Google Pulverizing Pancake. The Munchlax, once it evolves into Snorlax, has this item it holds, and it can do a move called Pulverizing Pancake. It's kind of terrifying. The video of it seeing it's really awesome. So we got a bunch of. I mean, they're going hog wild this time. The naming conventions are all over the place. They're involving like apostrophes and colons and spaces. They've never done that before. Never included spaces, and they're including not only spaces but punctuation. They don't normally do that. So clearly, the people who make Pokemon, I'm a huge Pokemon fan, are still got it. They're still able to make a good game. I mean, Pokemon X and Y were fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So it doesn't surprise me they decided to make another one before they came out with another handheld. It probably after this generation will come out with another one. But for now, I'm good with my 3DS as the best console of the current generation.
Nice. So lots of stuff for you guys who love the Pokemon coming soon. And stay tuned. I'm sure we'll be covering more of it as things develop there.
And word to the wise, if you have a Prime membership on Amazon, you can get like $8 or $9 off if you pre-order Pokemon Sun or Moon.
Good deal.
So that's cool.
Deal. So check that out, guys.
That is a good deal.
All right.
And you'll get it the day it comes out.
So on to
in the mail.
Something a little less lighthearted and fun, but a little bizarre. Okay, so the federal government, our federal government, the U.S. federal government, is going to be spending. And this is a strangely exact figure, $499,571 to combat online trolling. Now, we put online trolling, and even in this article on freebeacon.com, we put online trolling in quotes because they're...
Yeah, it's the Washington Free Beacon, by the way, just so you know.
They have a very different definition of online trolling than we do. They are calling for, and this is from the National Science Foundation, They are calling. Let me see if I can find this again here. Oh, they are calling online trolls people who... Good Lord, I had this up right in front of me. They are... Okay.
There's a lot of nonsense with this.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's total nonsense. Basically, they consider online trolling as people who spread misinformation online. This is what's funny coming from our government, who is so closely tied to our media. They considered online trolls. This is not combating harassment. This is not combating people going after other people or doxing or any of that shit. This is combating people who spread misinformation to try to influence government or public opinion. So I'm not sure if they're going after our media or if they're going after online trolls. Because, that pretty much defines our current state of, pseudo-journalism in the media, is spreading misinformation to affect public opinion. The biggest target, they said here, is the Chinese government is also believed to run a so-called 50-cent army, which is just this army of online trolls that they think China uses to spread misinformation. And then they're talking about upwards of 20,000 people engaged in Ukraine's information army. My concern with this thing is not only the waste of money, because the people in government, for a while there...
Waste a lot of money. They waste a lot of money.
For a while there, we could say the people who run the government are so old they don't understand how the internet works. But I have to come to terms with the fact that the people running the government right now are my age. I know what an internet troll is. And I know you're not going to stop an internet troll by spending money. You're not going to stop an internet troll at all. So I can only...
Except by ignoring them until they get bored with the fact that no one's paying attention to them. That's why it's a common internet thing to say, don't feed the troll. That's been an axiom of the internet for so long. It was in the song by Weird Al Yankovic, it's all about the Pentiums, which is probably from the early 2000s. Yeah. I mean, it's been internet law forever.
So they're using it to combat misinformation and basically propagandists from other countries. The problem is they're talking about using, and this is whenever we give the government an inch, they take 10 miles. They want to reuse extensive tracking infrastructure, and this is quotes right out of what they're talking about. They want to use extensive tracking infrastructure that benefits both users and themselves and web services, with the goal of preventing online trolling. And right here, their definition: scenarios in which various groups deploy tactics to influence public opinion on the internet by leaving biased, false, misleading, and inauthentic comments, and then artificially amplify their ratings. So the media. They are talking about...
Or propagandists.
Yes, they're talking about allowing lightweight and privacy-preserving form of identification for third-party websites. And this could also lead to removing anonymity online. This could lead to the government tracking more of what you say, and by ISP, by location, MAC addresses, your social media profiles, your footprint or your fingerprint, as they say here, your user fingerprint. And my concern is, when does this go from combating foreign propagandists to spying more on our citizens and possibly suppressing speech in the name of fighting online trolling? Like, this is a really, really broad proposal right now, and it's really, really vague. It's concerning. So keep an eye on this, guys. Anything to do with the internet and losing our anonymity, our freedom. I mean, I'm not anonymous, but Russell is. Everybody has the right to determine whether they want to put their face or their public name out there on social media or on the internet, and I don't think that the government has the right to tell us to do so or to not do so. So keep an eye on that, guys.
Yep.
This is...
I just think it's not going to... I mean, I imagine Milo Yiannopoulos has probably written an article about this, or I don't care anymore because I don't read him anymore. He's kind of... Right. He went a little too pro-Trump. When he started calling Trump daddy, that's when I stopped paying attention to him.
You don't have to be...
It's a little creepy. Yeah, a little creepy.
I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of articles out there. Be sure to get your... But again, their definition of troll describes our media. So be careful where you get your information from. Read different sources. Read a lot of different sources. Don't take my word for it. Don't take the Washington Free Beacon's word for it. Don't take anybody else's word for it. Read a lot of sources.
It's a great website, though, by the way. I love the Washington Free Beacon. They're good people.
This article is a lot of quotes from the proposal. So it's hard to... they're taking the words right out of the researchers' mouths and giving it to us. So there's not a whole lot of bias in this article. Most of it are just block quotes right out of the National Science Foundation's proposal on this thing. But again, their definition of a troll is a perfect example. It's a perfect description of our media. So make sure you're getting your information from good sources, especially on this kind of thing. Filter out the BS and read a lot of different stuff. Concerning stuff, keep an eye on it, guys, and make sure you voice your opinion loudly and steadily, but don't be assholes about it. Get out there, don't give them ammo. Get out there and tell them what you think, but don't give them a reason to turn this into more than they already say it is.
Yeah. Did you, by any chance, hear about the Crash Override Network leaked chat logs?
I did.
Heard about that?
I read a little bit about it, but there's so much information hitting, and this is a perfect example of this kind of thing being misused. The Crash Override Network's information, they were misusing information. I believe. At one point they were even baited into doxing a Twitter user. Or some of them were anyway.
And they say publicly they were against doxing.
And
so good job there.
Been exposed. So yeah, be careful who you deal with online. There are con artists, and I understand the innuendo and the pun in that phrase. There are con artists out there, and the Crash Override Network, the con network, as far as we can tell, were con artists. They were using people...
Very apropos acronym.
They were using people for exposure. They were only trying to help the people that would get them followers and get them good press. They were turning away people who really needed help. Behind people's backs, they were talking shit. They were doxing. They were sharing private information. And then turns out that some of them tried to dox another Twitter user. They were baited into it. To be quite honest, it was a setup. So they were set up to do it. Granted, they were going to do it. So it's still indicative of their character, but they were baited into doing it. And one of them, if I understand right, one of them on the network was also been accused by several people of being a sexual harasser and just generally a creep. So, folks, be careful who you deal with online, whether it be the government, the media, or somebody who says they're out to help you. Do your research, talk to other people. Don't get tied up in something that could hurt you potentially down the road, either by leaking your information or getting money from you or what have you. But yeah, I heard about that. So much information dumped in those chat logs. It was hard to follow. I read a couple of different pieces about it. But there's just, like I said, there's so much information overload there. And it's such a poisonous topic. Like, it's just getting involved is so much drama and so much negative shit that it just something I've really kind of avoided. It's just not good juju, folks. Really not good juju out there. So yeah, that's our federal government being stupid, and online trolls. Online trolls sometimes wear the mask of somebody trying to help you. The real trolls. So you got to be careful who you're dealing with. So moving from that, and actually it's a good segue from our media and misinformation, and especially we've been dealing with our gaming media for going on 3 years now. No, to almost 3 years, right?
Wait, yeah, wait.
Years.
Wasn't Gamergate 2014?
September 2014 is when everything got set on fire. I'm bad at
Yeah.
math.
So it's been 2 years
We're
now.
going on 2 years.
Because I knew it wasn't 2013, because I remembered it happening in 2013.
So, was 2014 one of those years where you don't remember anything? Were you doing a...
I said in 2013 a lot of stuff happened, so I would have noticed.
So moving from that into now, okay, so it's been, 3 weeks now, I think, since No Man's Sky released. And it has just, the press has been stacking... Well, they've been doing it since before the release, because the hype that the press created around this game was staggering. And then the disappointment after release was pretty profound. So the media, back when this was first announced, what was it, E3 last year or the year before is when all those articles hit, real heavy, where the press were just like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like, they really hyped this game up to be like the game to end all games. Like, No Man's Sky was going to be the shit and a bucket of shit. Like, it was going to be everything you ever wanted in a sandbox space flight simulator. It was gonna show Star Citizen and what the hell's the other one? Crap, I don't play it, so I don't know. It was going to show these guys who's boss and just take the internet by storm, right? And the press hyped everybody up. Like, this is going to be the most amazing game ever. It releases, and it turns out it's...
Yeah.
It turns out that a lot of... Well, here's the first mistake. First mistake is the press hyped it. The press hyped it like crazy based on some screen caps and some video and maybe a little bit of gameplay that they got. And then the developer went out there and did something most developers don't do. He started talking about stuff that they were planning on putting in the game, but that wasn't set in stone yet. And that's not something developers do. Like, when Bethesda starts talking about Fallout 5, they're not going to tell you what's in Fallout 5 unless they're definitive that it's going to be in the game. And even then, they're not going to spoil everything. So they're not going to tell you that Fallout 5 is going to have multiplayer unless they're positive Fallout 5 is going to have multiplayer. So this new developer for No Man's Sky started talking about all these plans they had for the game, and people were like getting really excited. Like, this is going to be a huge game. It's going to be massively multiplayer. Because he said in an interview, somebody said, are you going to be able to meet other players? And he said, yes. And then later, come to find out, no, it's not going to happen.
Is it theoretically possible? No. Yes, it's not likely, considering there's how many different planets.
It's impossible. You're not playing on the same server.
Oh, it's completely impossible? It's impossible. Like, you're not playing, it's not an online server?
An online game. You are playing the game completely.
Well, I haven't played the game because it's $60, and I'm not plonking down $60 on that game.
At first, that's what people thought. People thought, it's going to be unlikely you'll meet somebody else. No, it is, you are playing the game locally. The only thing that you share with other players is when you name a planet, that information gets downloaded into everybody's game, and that planet, when they come across it, is named whatever you named it. Same with the creatures and everything else. But you will never run into another person in the game. Not another human player. And... that was one of the big... There was a lot of stuff. There was just... The game was buggy as hell. For a lot of people, they couldn't run it. A lot of shit. Like, the disappointment after release was pretty awful. And then... So people started getting refunds. And then they started talking about... Well, Steam and Amazon and Sony and... Was it GOG too? Started offering refunds. Steam, Amazon, and Sony's PSN started offering refunds slightly outside of their normal procedure. For instance, Steam normally requires less than 2 hours, but they were issuing refunds, and now they weren't just doing it willy-nilly, because that's where the molehill comes in. The media made a big deal, and I'm reading this on ScreenRant.com. The media made a huge deal about the refunds, and they're just, anybody can go get a refund, no matter how long you played. And this led a former Sony employee who has left to go make his own games, named Shahid Ahmad, wrote on Twitter, if you're getting a refund after playing a game for 50 hours, you're a thief. He wrote that before it got revealed that Steam was not just giving refunds to everybody. If you played more than 2 hours, you had to apply for a refund, and you had to have a pretty good reason. Steam wasn't just letting you click a button and get your damn refund. So the misinformation from the media saying, oh, Steam's just letting anybody get a refund, led to Mr. Ahmad making a pretty shitty tweet anyway, even if they were giving refunds to people who played 50 hours or more. That's not a thief. A person who buys a product and that product does not deliver what was promised, you're not a thief for asking for a refund. And according to a lot of people, this game is so big, sometimes it takes...
Now, if you did Let's Play footage of it and tried to profit off of it and then wanted a refund, you're a dickbag.
That would be a little bit different. But there was no indication at all that Mr. Ahmad knew of anybody who played 50 hours and got a refund. And come to find out, that's not the case. As far as I know, nobody that played the game for 50 hours got a refund. So it led him, the misinformation from the media led him to be an asshole. And call gamers thieves because they actually want a product that delivers. And then it turns out recently on Forbes, on the 30th, 6 days ago, they wrote an article on Forbes about Steam is starting to crack down a little bit on the refunds. They're not giving them quite as easily as they were. So, you know, this is a case where the media made this huge mountain out of something that was really a molehill. And of course, gamers being what we are, we saw this and we flipped the frack out. Like, we took this idea and went, holy shit. Either A, yeah, look, I knew this was going to happen because this game sucks. Or B, people are like, oh God, I love this game. Why are people hating on it? Blah, blah. So it turned into a big shitstorm when it was really just kind of a little molehill. It was just a little, people weren't happy with the game. And some people got some refunds. And the negative reviews, there were a lot of negative reviews. But our media, with what they do, this is their habit, they spread a lot of unconfirmed reports, intentional or unintentional misinformation, and that's something that bugs the shit out of me. It's one thing to make a mistake, but when you write an article and you do not look for the right information and you print stuff, just make shit up, that isn't...
The media does that all the damn time. At least online media. Print media is usually better with that because they usually have fact checkers and editors. Online media usually doesn't have as many layers of editors. So
even if it's unintentional, if you don't do your research and you print shit that isn't true, you are responsible for the problems that it causes. And in this case, a lot of problems. I mean, it's calmed down now, but there were, for a couple weeks there, social media was a shitstorm around this game. And there was a lot of anger and hate going around. And
yeah, and it's not and from what we understand, it's just not a good game. So lesson learned.
One of those
this company's
mediocre games. And yeah, like you were going to say, companies promised something that wasn't in the game. Even if they didn't say, yes, this is definitely in the game. Like I said, they made the mistake of talking about things they wanted to put in the game before they were confirmed in the game. And we know that people do not consume all the information about something. If somebody watched the one interview where the developer said there was going to be multiplayer and didn't watch another interview about this thing, when the game comes out, they're going to expect multiplayer because they heard him say it once. So you can't expect your consumers to consume all of the media that you go out and talk about. You know, if you went back later and said, no, there's no multiplayer, you can't count on every one of the people that saw your first interview to have seen the second one. So developers, be smart about that. Especially you new guys. Look at what the big companies do. You may hate the big companies, but there's a reason they don't release a lot of information, and this is one of those reasons.
And also, here's the thing about No Man's Sky. It had beautiful AAA level graphics. Didn't have much of anything else.
That's pretty much it.
It's the avatar of video games.
And somebody best described it as a really cool feature for a future game somebody else is going to make.
Yeah, it would be like an exploration concept. Like, I have a video game idea where every
Russell? Oh, we lost his audio. Hold on. We're going to see if we can get him back here. We lost his audio. Russell, come back to us. Oh, call drop. We lost him. I'm going to get him back. Not my internet this time. Can you hear me? He said he could hear me, but he's not picking up. I think his Skype's gone to poop. I'm a-calling you. There he is. Can you hear me, bud?
Yeah, I just thought it'd be a good idea to close it and restart.
All right, so we got him back.
You couldn't hear me. I could still hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's weird. So yeah, like you were describing a situation where you had a good game idea and go.
It would be a good idea to use this game engine. Would be a good thing to build a game off of. Like, for instance, a battle. Have you seen the movie Battle Royale?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
A battle royale multiplayer game in this environment would be awesome.
Yeah.
Have different weapons. Like, everybody starts in a different part of the map. Weapons are randomly distributed. There's melee weapons and guns of various types of various range weapons. There's even mid-range guns. I mean, like throwing spears and stuff like that. Strew them all around the planet and have a multi-battle royale, like a Hunger Games battle royale situation.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That could be a really fun thing to do. Because this engine is beautiful for what it is. It has the good bones.
Yeah.
It has the good bones of a good engine. But it's just not a lot to do.
Yeah, I agree. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate. But again, a lot of great games come out of decent ideas or okay games. So we never know. This could turn into something bigger. But the moral of the story, kids, we lost him again. I don't know what is going on.
What happened
I don't
there?
know. You just dropped.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And a lot of games come from really decent concepts. For instance, Minecraft. It was just digital Legos essentially. Very pixelated digital Legos. And it's the kind of stuff that happens. Did anyone think Minecraft would be crazy popular? When you first heard of Minecraft, did you think it was going to be as fucking popular as it was? I mean, you go to a toy store and you find that shit in every toy. You find that shit in any Walmart. You'll find Minecraft merchandise. It started as a thing for computer nerds and then moved like 20 to 30 something computer nerds and then moved to like everybody, children.
It's crazy.
Everybody.
I played it for about an hour when I first got it, and I haven't played it since.
It's a fun game to mess around in. It's significantly more fun with other people, but it's also fun if you're just by yourself when you're just building stuff. Especially the adventure map system. A lot of YouTubers, especially like the Yogscast, they do adventure maps or challenge maps and stuff like that. They're really fun. Usually have a lot of jumping puzzles in them.
So yeah, that's that. And then they said No Man's Sky. Lots of controversy out there. It seems to have died down now, thankfully, because I was getting tired of hearing about it. It's a game that I don't play, don't have any intention of playing. So yeah,
But seriously, that engine is. I
hope so, because
they better put that engine out there, because just a simple multiplayer mode. That's all it would need. And add a few guns and melee weapons. Even if it's just something like a wrench and a laser gun. Just add those into it, and it could be a very fun adventure game. Because there are destructible environments, because you can mine the islands. So you can like if somebody's hiding behind something, you can chip away at what they're hiding behind or something like that. That could be really cool.
Absolutely. So then finally we're going to talk about the big news from last week, and I pulled out an article for a specific reason, but I'm looking at Forbes.com and their text section called Making Sense of YouTube's Great Demonetization Controversy of 2016. And I was surprised to find out more information, because usually the media either goes with the hype or goes against the hype, whatever happens to be the current controversy. And in this case, this one fell right sort of in the middle. So I actually found this article pretty enlightening from Frusina. Oh, wow. I have a bad last name, but I'm going to butcher this one. I'm going to say Eardo. Frzina Eardo. Frzina, I'm sorry if I butchered that. But okay, so you guys know that YouTube, I mean, a hashtag started, YouTube is dying, YouTube is over is the hashtag. And
advertiser friendly.
yeah, like YouTube came out with these new, what they say were new service agreements for advertiser friendly. Your videos have to be advertiser friendly. Not a lot of cursing. There are certain topics you can't really talk about, though it's been found out that, like, for instance, I believe it was Shuon had a video about rape is bad, and it was demonetized because the title rape is bad. Because and we know that it was demonetized because of the title, because when she changed the very same video's title to consent, it was remonetized. So in this case, it was a video about consent or how rape is bad, and it was demonetized. Boogie, everybody knows Boogie. He had some videos about, fairly certain that they were about suicide prevention. And those were demonetized because suicide is a topic that they don't want you to cover.
Because the word suicide.
Even though these are supposed to be videos to help people.
So does that mean every video with about the Suicide Squad?
That's the question. How far is it going? Because we all know a lot of this stuff is automated. YouTube does not. There is not somebody sitting at YouTube that goes through all the millions of videos on YouTube and decides what gets monetized and what doesn't. All of this stuff is automated by bots and algorithms and stuff. And it's probably searching keywords. It's probably searches title keywords first, and then I'm sure it searches our tags, and then it probably counts on a lot of people either reporting videos, because it'll be a lot harder for these algorithms to check the video content or the audio content, but they can check titles, they can check keywords and titles. So a lot of this stuff was getting demonetized, but I was interested and surprised to find out that this policy is not actually new. YouTube has had a policy like this since YouTube started the monetization. The difference is, a short time ago, YouTube inadvertently started, this is quoted right out of the article, YouTube inadvertently started this controversy by adopting a new transparency policy in an attempt to foster goodwill with the community. In the past, if your video got demonetized, they didn't let you know. It just got demonetized. You might find out later. Now, take a guy like Boogie who has hundreds of videos. If one of his gets demonetized, he may not notice that. Now, with this new transparency policy, they're telling people. So people are getting emails, hey, this video's been demonetized. A lot of people are getting caught up, or guys like Boogie, or news people who do online news. As a matter of fact, and I forgot his name. You had said his name earlier, Russell. He's in this article. Crap. Yes, Philip DeFranco had a lot of videos.
He's one of the OG YouTubers. He's been on YouTube forever.
And he does news.
He's one of those guys. Oh yeah, he's a Philip DeFranco show. It's been on YouTube forever.
Yep. And
he has a whole provider network now. He's got his Philip DeFranco show. He's got his vlog channel. He's got his family channel. He's married with a kid now, possibly 2 kids. Since I don't know if he has a second kid yet. And he also has the SourceFed channels, which he's involved in.
So yeah, and
he's the guy that's been with YouTube for longer than a lot of people's relationships.
Yeah. So here's the crux of it. Guidelines for monetizable, and this is out of the article again. Guidelines for monetizable ad-friendly content have been in place since the first day YouTube began running ads on user content. The guidelines have always included prohibition of vulgar language or sexual innuendo, but for some reason it was not known and never came up for most people on the platform. In other words, they weren't enforcing it. If it was, you'd think veteran YouTubers would have been on the site for years, including Philip DeFranco, The Young Turks, Jenna Marbles, and Hank Green, would know about it and would try to make content within those guidelines. So YouTube has always had this policy, but not only have they recently started actually enforcing it more regularly, but they started telling people when they enforce it. So it's caused a lot of strife, a lot of controversy. People have been making videos about it. People have been crying censorship about it. That's kind of that's borderline. They're not taking your videos down. There's a harsh reality for those of us who make content, whether we be writers or artists or video makers, game makers, etc. We have the right to create our content. That's our free speech. We have the right to create our content. We have the right to put it out there somewhere. We don't have the right to demand somebody pay us for it or that somebody host it for us. So crying censorship on this one is a little bit, that's stretching it a little bit, guys. If they were taking your videos down and nobody would put them up, that might be closer to the point. If somebody prevented you from hosting them anywhere, that would definitely be censorship. But not paying you for a video that you made is not, while that's shitty and it sucks, that is not censorship. So let's make sure we're using proper terminology out there, because again, let's not make mountains out of molehills in some cases. And yeah, it's shitty of YouTube to start enforcing this policy, especially as broad as they are now. And I haven't looked too much into this, so this is complete speculation based on what I've been seeing online. But I've been seeing people say that some videos with similar content are being allowed to stay up. Most notably from either big name feminists, big name, what we'll use in quotes because I hate the phrase.
Lacey
Green's one of them, Anita Sarkeesian, SJWs, which I really hate that acronym, but I don't know what else to say.
You say the whole thing.
Yeah, it's said. Now, again, I have not looked into it, so this is me taking off my journalism hat and just sharing with you what is going around the rumor mill online. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if there is actually any kind of bias in this program at all. There very well could be. It wouldn't surprise me if there were, but I can't confirm anything like that. I don't know, but that's what a lot of people are saying. And if that's the case, then we've really got a huge issue. If YouTube is going to take a stand like this, they need to do it evenly across the board. Take down everybody's videos that violate these policies, not just one person or one person or the other based on your political views. So yeah, it is strange because, like it says here at the very end, there is age restrictions on videos. You can mark a video age restricted, which means if you have vulgar content or sexual innuendo,
they have to be logged in and have a date of birth 18 and older.
So the fact
I remember gaming that when I remember gaming that in the early days of YouTube when I wasn't 18.
Yeah. It's easy to get around, but point being, if YouTube already has a way to mark a video as not family friendly, I don't see the point of demonetizing it. Either mark it as, age restricted video and leave it monetized, or, I guess age restricted videos can't be monetized. That's what I'm reading here. So that can't be happening. So let's do that. YouTube, let them monetize the age restricted videos and mark them so, and then everybody will be happy. I no, I don't say that. You're never going to make everybody happy.
No, you're not.
So yeah,
the sane people. You make the sane people.
You'll make
happy.
the majority of the logical thinking human beings out there happy by allowing more options, not by going this, because this does seem a little bit extreme. But again, it's been the policy forever, I guess. They're just now starting to actually enforce it. I don't know why. A lot of people are speculating why. I'm going to leave them to that speculation. I don't know why. Nobody has said for sure why. It's just people out there saying what they think is happening here. So yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. We are not monetized. I don't need your money. I don't need you watching advertisers, and I don't need to be beholden to advertisers.
We're not monetized because we have less than 100 subscribers, so we couldn't monetize even if we wanted to.
Wouldn't do it anyway because, again, I don't want to be beholden to advertisers or a YouTube policy that's going to demonetize me because I want to speak the way I want to speak. And if they have a problem with me cussing or sexual innuendo or bad jokes,
They don't seem to care about that. They care about like controversial topics.
That seems to be what's hitting most people is controversial topics. Again, you got rape in your title or suicide in your title. That's going to get you. One video had the word penis in it and was demonetized. So yeah, it's a tough call, guys. But watch it closely, and again, get your information from good sources. Don't follow the outrage media, and don't follow the outrage posters. Give things time, figure it out, get the truth, get as much information as you can. Don't take our word for it, don't take anybody else's word for it. Get your own information. Don't be sheep, basically. Get your own information. I'm absolutely tired of people, all they're doing is regurgitating what somebody else posts on Twitter or Facebook, or liking and sharing just because it sounds good. Get your own information. Get your own facts. Make up your own mind. That's all we could do, really. So yeah, what are you watching? Anything?
There's a little bit of other news. The Spider-Man Homecoming news. It would appear the Shocker is going to be the villain, or one of the villains. Unfortunately, it looks like there's going to be like 3 or 4 villains in this movie. Hopefully that means they're not villains, they're just characters that they're setting up for later movies.
The Shocker?
But it looks like
or Electro?
The Shocker. No, the Shocker.
That is...
The Shocker didn't use electricity. He used like vibrating
Why isn't that ringing a bell?
He wore like a woven yellow suit. Just Google it. He's got one of the best costumes.
Gotcha.
He's got one of the best costumes of any of the early Spider-Man villains. He was in the Spider-Man 2 video game. That's
he hasn't shown up in a while in the comics. That's why I recognize, as soon as I Googled him, I recognized him right away. But yeah, I have not seen him.
Michael Keaton, after saying he wasn't going to be it, is in it. Has announced he is in it. That's a few months old at this point. I can't believe I didn't know that. But his character hasn't been confirmed yet, though. He likely is going to play Vulture. Because there's not that many villains in the Spider-Man universe that are anywhere near as old as Michael Keaton.
So he's going to go from Birdman to the Vulture. That's a little meta, isn't it?
It just makes sense. It just makes sense. It'll be interesting what they do with that. And it looks like there's another villain or two possibly in this movie, which is problematic. But also, for some reason, have you ever seen the movie The Budapest Hotel?
Yes.
The movie Grand Budapest Hotel? Yeah, the main character in that is somehow going to play Flash Thompson. I don't really understand. Is the guy going to get buff for it or something?
Weird.
Because Flash Thompson was played by Joe Manganiello.
Well,
the guy who's currently married to Sofia Vergara. Yeah. And he was, I don't know if you've seen him in anything, but he's on the short list to play Deathstroke. He's pretty buff, and he was in Magic Mike, so that's how you know when we're talking about buff men. He's got a 6-pack kind of thing going on. So I don't know why they go from because Flash Thompson was always a bully in the comic books, wasn't he?
He was, and I mean
and then he became Agent Venom recently,
yes,
right?
He was
the first person to ever control the alien symbiote.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That'll be different because if they do it when he's a kid,
they're clearly going to be setting him up to play Agent Venom. You don't because that's what Marvel does. So they've always done. They introduce new plot lines from the last 10 years, and those are the most likely ones to be put in the movies. So look to have Flash Thompson be going to war at the
everybody wants a good Venom. They're not real happy with what we did get, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, Agent Venom was a good guy.
Yes.
He was a soldier, I think, for the U.S. government.
Well, it was because
that would be a good way. That would be a good way to do Venom, where the expectations aren't to do a good villain; it's to do a good complex storyline. Because that's a complex storyline.
Well, and
Venom
was one of those characters that wasn't really a villain. That's why he was so good.
He was originally a villain, and he became more of a kind of guy who didn't give a shit.
Sort of, because he hated
chaotic neutral.
He feeds on the emotions of the host.
He hated Spider-Man originally
because of his host.
Eddie Brock originally hated the fuck out of him
because of the host. So
for obvious reasons, Spider-Man was a dick. Back then.
Well,
it's a real dick to Eddie
Brock. And so that's what Venom does. But Venom wasn't evil because Eddie wasn't evil. He just hated Spider-Man.
I would also like Man-Wolf to be in a movie.
That'd be interesting.
I like them to do Rhino well. But if we're talking about wish list items, fucking Mysterio.
Yeah.
You could do a whole psychological thriller with Mysterio because he could fucking mess with. Because that's all he was. He was parlor tricks. He was special effects and parlor tricks. He was never really powerful. That's why some of the hardest levels in the Spider-Man 2 video game were navigating the physics puzzles of his stuff. And then you encounter him randomly while you're taking a different mission. It's like, an alien's robbing the grocery store. And you get in there, and it's Mysterio for some reason holding up a grocery store or a convenience store. And he's like, oh, I will destroy you. And it's like his health bar keeps going up and up and up and up, and you just punch him once and he's defeated.
I wonder if they're setting up the Sinister Six by pulling in so many villains.
They'd have to bring in Doc Ock, wouldn't they? And not a lot of people are going to be happy with that because everybody loves Alfred.
Yeah, he did a really good job actually for that.
Well, he did a good job until, his nonsensical come to humanity moment that didn't make. That's my problem with the ending was too neat. It's like, oh, I'm going to destroy the city. No, well, you've convinced me by talking to me for 5 seconds. I'm going to sacrifice my life and save the city.
Yeah, that was a little cheap. But then again, we're talking about...
Yeah, it was a little cheap. Also, the fact that he blamed Spider-Man for his wife's death was kind of stupid. It was clearly your fucking fault, dude. It's your fault. First of all, whose smart idea was to do a possibly unstable nuclear reaction in the fusion reactor in the middle of New York City? Yeah. Who thought it might not be a good idea, maybe to go to upstate New York?
Yeah.
Or maybe someplace, maybe the middle of the desert? Why would you do it in the most populated city in the United States? It just seems stupid. I never really understood the logic there.
Yeah.
You're going to do a fusion reactor that you don't know you're going to be able to contain? Who the fuck what government agency would sign off on that? So stupid. I noticed that when I was fucking 12 when I saw that movie. I got it. It's like,
they weren't the greatest, unfortunately. So hopefully they can do better with the next
I like the first one more. My favorite one is it's by the first Spider-Man. Although this is Thomas Holland is probably the best Spider-Man we ever had. He was amazing in Civil War.
He really was.
Really good.
So yeah, folks, that's pretty much it. That's the show. That's the news. If you watch the recording, please subscribe, like, comment, tell us what you think, ask questions. Are we wrong? Are we right? Do you agree or disagree? Troll us, because I don't care.
Also, Black Manta may be the villain in the Aquaman movie. And it may be played by Omar from The Wire.
Cool. Very cool.
Because he really wants to play it. So
nice. We'll see. We got.
That would create a lot of positive buzz.
Yeah.
If that would happen.
Lots of superhero stuff coming out. We got 99 days to Star Wars Rogue One.
We also have Doctor Strange, and the other Disney movie that's coming out is that Dwayne The Rock Johnson as a demigod movie. I forget what it's Mona, something like that.
Very cool.
And Angela Lansbury from Murder, She Wrote is going to be on Game of Thrones.
Oh, nice.
I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Very cool.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Interesting.
I really don't get that one.
Well, folks, if you've been with us the whole time, thank you. If you're watching the recording, thank you. We appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Come back for Saturday Randomness and next Tuesday for our live radio broadcast. Thank you very much.
What are you going to be playing on Saturday?
Probably picking up The Division. We got to keep going with that until people get bored with it or I get bored with it.
And you got to play a multiplayer game that I actually...
Well, we have to find one.
Do you have Dive Kick?
Nope.
Do you have Dive Kick by any chance?
Nope.
Damn. It's like $4.99 or something. So if you wanted to get... I don't even know if there's online multiplayer. It might only be local. I have to look at what games I have. Do you ever play Painkiller?
No, but it is on my list. I got pulled into Battlefield.
It is. I believe there is online multiplayer for that, and we'd probably be like the only people on it.
Well, I may have to look into that.
We could have like a 1 versus 1.
I may have to look into that. So yeah, you guys have a wonderful week. We're gonna sign out now. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for stopping by.